They're getting closer! Help me!
You will marry Lord Hargrave. Defy me and I will disinherit.
Uncle, I cannot. My heart belongs to another.
Your heart is irrelevant. Obey or face ruin.
I will not yield.
Lady Pembroke, you are late.
The rain, my lord, I was delayed.
Excuses. You test my patience.
What do you want of me?
Obedience. Do not forget it.
Before tonight's story begins, if you love tales of forbidden romance, hidden identities, and the kind of love that changes everything, subscribe now to The Duke's Obsession. Join us for unforgettable historical romance stories where every whispered secret can alter a destiny. Now, let us begin. England, 1814. Rain had a way of making desperation louder. Lady Eleanor Whitmore could hear it in every splash of mud beneath her shoes, every frantic beat of her heart, every second that brought her closer to ruin. She clutched her soaked cloak tightly around herself as she hurried through the narrow London street, her breath coming in quick, uneven bursts. She had exactly 1 hour. 1 hour before her uncle found her. 1 hour before she would be forced into a marriage she would rather die than endure. And no one was coming to save her. Not her father, gone these 3 years. Not her mother, whose face she now struggled to remember. Not society, which had long decided that a woman without fortune, brothers, or protection was little more than a burden to be traded. Her uncle had made his intentions painfully clear. You will marry Lord Pembroke tonight, Eleanor, whether willingly or carried unconscious to the altar. Lord Pembroke, a widower twice her age. A man whispered about in drawing rooms and behind gloved hands, cruel, possessive. A collector of wives, some joked darkly, one dead, one vanished, and now her. No, she would not go. Even if it meant scandal, even if it meant disgrace, even if it meant begging a complete stranger for help. The roadside inn stood at the edge of the city, half hidden in fog and rain. It was not a place respectable ladies entered, which made it perfect. Eleanor stepped inside, trembling. The scent of wet wood, ale, and smoke filled the room. Conversations quieted. A few men stared. Most looked away until she saw him. Alone, seated near the fire, a man in simple dark clothing, mud on his boots, a travel-worn coat, broad shoulders, dark hair damp from rain. He looked ordinary. Yet something about him felt wrong, not dangerous, controlled. The way he sat, too still, too composed, like a man who had never once needed to ask permission to exist. She approached slowly. Every step felt ridiculous, reckless, humiliating. But by no choice. He looked up, gray eyes, sharp, unreadable. Nobleman's eyes, though he was dressed as anything but. Sir, she whispered. He said nothing, simply watched her. Eleanor swallowed, then did the most reckless thing she had ever done. Please, her voice trembled. Please marry me. Silence. The fire cracked softly. Somewhere behind the bar, a glass shattered. The stranger blinked once, slowly. I beg your pardon. I know how this sounds, do you? His voice was low, calm, irritatingly calm. Because from where I sit, it sounds very much like a lady of breeding has wandered into a tavern and proposed marriage to a man she does not know. That is exactly what has happened. One corner of his mouth lifted. Then I admire your honesty. Eleanor leaned closer. Please, I am not mad, only desperate. His eyes narrowed. Desperation often leads to madness, and kindness often begins with listening. For the first time, something flickered across his face. Surprise, perhaps, or amusement. Sit, he said. She did. Her gloves were soaked. Her hands shook. She hated that he noticed. Explain. Eleanor took a breath. My uncle intends to force me into marriage tonight. Lord Pembroke. At the name, something changed in his expression. Brief, sharp, gone before she could grasp it. You know him? By reputation. Then you understand. He studied her. And your solution is to marry a stranger instead? A legal marriage, however sudden, would invalidate my uncle's arrangement. You have thought this through. For the last 6 hours. And if I refuse, Eleanor looked down. Then I suppose I return and pray Lord Pembroke kills me quickly. The stranger's jaw tightened. Silence settled between them. Eleanor realized suddenly how absurd this was. She had no dowry to offer, no reason for him to help her, no guarantee he was even a good man. Yet something about him felt safe, which was perhaps the most dangerous thing of all. What is your name? He asked. Lady Eleanor Whitmore. And if I agree, then you will have my eternal gratitude. Only gratitude. She blinked. Should I offer more? No, gratitude will suffice. He rose. Eleanor stood too quickly. You agree? I did not say that. Her hope faltered. Then why stand? He reached for his coat. Because if Lord Pembroke truly intends to force your hand, we should not waste time. Her heart pounded. You will help me? Perhaps. He turned toward her. Lady Eleanor, proposing marriage without knowing a man's name is reckless. Then tell me your name. He held her gaze. Nathaniel. It sounded too simple. A lie, perhaps. But she accepted it. She had no choice. Outside, rain poured harder. They stepped into the night together. The church was small and nearly empty. A sleepy clergyman grumbled at being summoned so late. Eleanor's hands would not stop shaking. Nathaniel stood beside her, silent and impossibly calm. "Do you wish to proceed?" the clergyman asked. She looked at the stranger she was about to marry. His profile was sharp in candlelight. Handsome, controlled, a man wrapped in secrets. "Yes," she whispered. Nathaniel looked at her. Something softened in his eyes. "Yes," he said. The ceremony began. Her pulse thundered in her ears. She barely heard the vows, barely felt the ring placed in her trembling hand until the church doors slammed open. "Stop this at once!" Eleanor froze. Her uncle. Behind him stood Lord Pembroke, smiling, cold, victorious. "You foolish girl," her uncle hissed. "Did you truly believe you could escape?" Lord Pembroke stepped forward. "This little performance ends now." Nathaniel moved in front of Eleanor, calmly, deliberately. "I do not believe it does," Pembroke laughed. "And who are you supposed to be?" Nathaniel reached into his coat. Eleanor's breath caught. He withdrew a signet ring, heavy, gold, marked with a crest she recognized instantly. Her blood turned to ice. Impossible. Her uncle stepped back. Lord Pembroke went pale. Nathaniel slid the ring onto his finger and spoke with a voice no longer humble, no longer ordinary. "Nathaniel Ashford." Silence. The Duke of Ravenshire. Eleanor's knees nearly gave way. A duke. Dear God. She had begged a stranger to marry her, and unknowingly chosen one of the most powerful men in England. If you're already captivated by Eleanor's desperate gamble and the mysterious Duke she unknowingly married, don't forget to subscribe to the Duke's Obsession. The most dangerous secrets are only just beginning. Lord Pembroke bowed stiffly. Her uncle looked ready to faint. Eleanor could barely breathe. The Duke turned to her, his face unreadable once more. "It seems, Lady Eleanor," his voice softened, "you have made a most fortunate choice," but something in his eyes told another story. A warning, a burden, a secret far heavier than his title. Because Nathaniel Ashford was not merely a duke in disguise. He was hiding from something or someone. And now she was his wife. Their story had only just begun. Subscribe now and return for part 2, where Eleanor discovers why a powerful duke was hiding among common men, and why marrying him may place her in greater danger than the man she fled. If Eleanor believed marrying a stranger would save her from danger, she was about to discover she had stepped into a far greater storm. Before we continue, subscribe now to the Duke's Obsession, where secrets, scandal, and forbidden love await in every story. The church had gone utterly silent. No one moved, no one breathed. Eleanor could still feel the cold metal of the wedding ring on her finger, but it no longer felt like protection. It felt like something else entirely, something irreversible. Nathaniel Ashford, the Duke of Ravenshire, one of the wealthiest and most powerful men in England. A man whose name was spoken in newspapers, whispered in Parliament halls, and admired in every grand ballroom she had ever entered. And she had begged him to marry her like a desperate fool in a roadside tavern. Her uncle's face had drained of color. Lord Pembroke's smug expression had vanished, replaced by something much uglier. "Fear good," Eleanor thought bitterly. "Let him feel it." Nathaniel stood with maddening calm, his hand resting loosely at his side, his posture relaxed, but his eyes had hardened into steel. Gone was the quiet traveler she had spoken to. Gone was the man called simply Nathaniel. Before her now stood the Duke, and somehow he looked even more dangerous. "Your Grace," Lord Pembroke said, bowing stiffly. "Had I known—" "No," Nathaniel interrupted smoothly. "You would not have behaved differently." Pembroke swallowed. "This matter concerns Lady Eleanor's family. Lady Eleanor is now my wife." The words landed like thunder, wife. Eleanor's heart stumbled. Strange how one word could feel both comforting and terrifying. Her uncle stepped forward, his voice trembling. "Surely this arrangement was made under confusion. Eleanor is upset. She does not understand what she has done." Nathaniel turned his gaze toward him, and Eleanor nearly pitied the man. Nearly. "I believe Lady Eleanor understood perfectly." Her uncle's lips tightened. "You cannot simply steal another man's intended bride." "Can I not?" Nathaniel asked quietly. The silence that followed was brutal. Lord Pembroke forced a smile. "Your Grace, perhaps we can discuss compensation." Nathaniel's expression darkened. "Compensation? For the insult, the embarrassment." Nathaniel took one slow step forward. "You attempted to force a woman into marriage. Another step. A woman who clearly refused you. Another. And now you wish to be compensated." Pembroke stepped back. Eleanor felt something she had not felt in months. Safety, not certainty, not peace, but safety. It was unfamiliar enough to sting. "Leave," Nathaniel said. 2 simple words. Yet they carried the full weight of command. Pembroke bowed quickly and turned. Her uncle hesitated. "Eleanor, go," she whispered. He looked at her as though she had betrayed him. Perhaps she had. He left. The church doors shut behind them. Silence returned. Eleanor exhaled shakily. "Well," she said softly, "that was dreadful." To her surprise, Nathaniel laughed. A real laugh. Low and brief but undeniably human. You are remarkably composed. No, I am trying very hard not to faint. Ah, that makes more sense. She turned to him slowly. You lied to me. His amusement faded. I omitted. Your title, yes, your name, only partially, your entire identity. He sighed. That as well. Why? He did not answer immediately. Instead, he removed his gloves with deliberate care. Because being a duke invites many things, Lady Eleanor, such as flattery, manipulation, false affection. His eyes met hers. And danger. The way he said the last word chilled her. Danger from whom? That is not something you need concern yourself with tonight. I am your wife. The words slipped out before she could stop them. His expression shifted, softer, complicated. Yes, he said quietly. You are. The realization settled heavily between them. Married. To a man she did not know, a powerful man, a secretive man. A man who had stepped between her and ruin without hesitation. Why? Why did you help me? She asked. He looked away. Because I recognize desperation. That is not an answer. It is the only one I can offer. She studied him carefully. You were hiding, yes. From what? Someone? A woman? The question escaped before she could stop it. His brow lifted. You think I am fleeing a woman? You are handsome, secretive, and traveling alone in disguise. It seemed possible. For the first time that evening, he smiled properly. It transformed him. Warmed his entire face. Dangerous, she thought. A man like that should not be allowed to smile. No, he said. Not a woman. Then what? A threat. Before she could press further, footsteps echoed outside the church. Nathaniel stiffened instantly. His hand moved toward his coat. Stay behind me. The warmth in his voice vanished. The church door creaked open. A man entered, tall, thin, cloaked in black. Nathaniel's jaw tightened. Too late, he murmured. Eleanor's pulse quickened. Who is that? Someone who should not know where I am. The stranger stepped forward and bowed. Your Grace, you should not have followed me. Forgive me, but your disappearance has caused concern. Nathaniel's eyes narrowed. Whose concern? The man hesitated. The crown's. Eleanor blinked. The crown? Nathaniel glanced at her. You see now why your life has become complicated. You are involved with the crown? Unfortunately. Doing what? He ignored the question. Speak. The man lowered his voice. There has been another attack. Nathaniel's face went still. Where? Ravenshire Manor. Eleanor felt the room tilt. Your home, she whispered. Nathaniel did not answer. Casualties, he asked coldly. One injured, the library destroyed. Nathaniel cursed under his breath. We leave immediately. Eleanor stared at him. We? He turned. Did you imagine I would leave my wife behind? Her heart stumbled again. I hardly know you, nor I you. And yet we are married, yes. His eyes softened for just a moment. Which means I am now responsible for your safety. She lifted her chin. I can protect myself. Tonight, perhaps. But not against what follows me. A carriage waited outside. Rain still fell in silver sheets beneath the moonlight. Nathaniel helped her inside. She hesitated before taking his hand. His fingers were warm, steady, reassuring. She hated how comforting that felt. As the carriage pulled away, London disappearing behind them, Eleanor turned toward him. Tell me the truth. About what? Everything. He stared out the window. Very well. He exhaled. 3 months ago, someone began targeting my family. Her breath caught. Why? I do not know. And the disguise? To investigate quietly. Alone? Trust is difficult. Do you trust me? He looked at her. Really looked at her. No. The honesty stung more than it should have. Then he added softly, but I believe I might. The carriage rocked gently through the darkness. Something changed in that moment. Not love, not yet, but understanding. Fragile, unwelcome, real. If you're drawn into Eleanor and Nathaniel's dangerous journey, subscribe now to the Duke's Obsession. Their marriage may be sudden, but their greatest trials are only beginning. Hours later, dawn painted the horizon pale gold as Ravenshire Manor came into view. Eleanor gasped. It was magnificent. Towering stone walls, endless gardens, Gothic windows glimmering in early light. But something was wrong. Smoke still curled into the sky. Nathaniel saw it too. His entire body went rigid. No. The carriage had barely stopped before he leapt out. Eleanor followed. Servants rushed forward in panic. Your Grace! What happened? Nathaniel demanded. The butler's face was pale. They returned. Who? We never saw them. Eleanor turned toward the manor. One window on the upper floor was shattered. Glass glittered on the ground below. Then she saw it. Written across the front entrance, in dark paint, or perhaps a single sentence. You cannot hide her forever. Eleanor's blood ran cold. Her, she whispered. Nathaniel's face became unreadable. Nathaniel, she said quietly. Who are they talking about? He did not answer. Instead, he looked at her with something dangerously close to fear. And for the first time, Eleanor understood. Whatever secret Nathaniel Ashford was hiding, it was not only his own. And somehow she had already become part of it. Return for part 3, where Eleanor uncovers the hidden woman at the center of Nathaniel's dangerous secret and begins to wonder whether her mysterious husband has told her anything close to the truth.